There comes a time in life when the pain becomes so heavy that you feel like you can't take one more step. A moment when you wake up in the morning and whisper to yourself, "I can't do this anymore. It's over." Maybe you're struggling to support your family. Maybe you're trying to build a business from nothing. Maybe you're tired of giving your best and seeing no results. And then that voice inside your head appears, the one that says, "Just let go. It's not worth it. You're not made for this." But today, I want to tell you something that might change everything for you. In Japan, there is a word that saved people from complete collapse, a word that helped rebuild an entire country after unimaginable destruction, a word that transforms pain into purpose, Ganbaru. Before you think it's just another philosophy, I want you to listen closely, because I'm about to tell you the story of a young man. A simple young man from rural Japan just after World War II. He had no money, no food, no hope. But he had something that most people throw away at the first sign of difficulty, something that changed everything. Before I continue, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below, what is the biggest struggle you're facing right now? What makes you feel like giving up? I try to read and respond to as many comments as possible. And remember, you are not alone. Chapter 1. Kenji's story. Japan, 1947. Only 2 years after the end of World War II. The country was in ruins. Entire cities were reduced to rubble. The economy collapsed. Millions were dead. Those who survived were starving. In the middle of this devastation lived a 19-year-old boy named Kenji. He lived in a small village, far from the cities, far from help. He lived with his mother, 2 younger brothers, and his grandmother. His father had died in the war, and now Kenji was the man of the house. But how do you become the man of the house when you have nothing? No food, no money, no opportunities. Every morning Kenji woke up on an empty stomach, feeling the weight of an entire world on his back. He watched his mother hide her tears. He watched his brothers ask for food he didn't have. And worst of all, he felt like a failure. I should be able to take care of them, he thought. But I can't, I'm weak. Kenji worked hard in the fields. He took any job he could find. But no matter how much he tried, it was never enough. Hope was fading. Until one day, he finally broke. Early one cold morning, Kenji walked to a nearby farm hoping to find work. But the owner told him, "I can't pay you, boy. I barely pay the workers I already have." Kenji walked home empty-handed, sat on the dirt floor outside his house, and cried. Not the gentle cry of sadness, the cry of defeat. "I can't take it anymore," he whispered. "I tried. I swear I tried, but I can't do this." As he sat there, an older man approached him. Worn clothes, rough hands, a gentle knowing smile. "Are you all right, young man?" he asked. Kenji wiped his tears. "I'm fine, just tired." The man nodded. "Tired or defeated?" Kenji stayed silent. "Are you looking for work?" the man asked. Kenji replied, "I am, but nobody is hiring." The man smiled again. "I have a small carpentry shop in the next town. I can't pay much, but it's honest work. And there's food." A spark lit inside Kenji, small but real. "I accept, sir. I'll do anything." "My name is Tiada," the man said. "You start tomorrow." Kenji arrived early the next day. The workshop was small, old tools, the smell of wood. Tada greeted him softly. "Ready to work?" Kenji nodded. The first days were painful, literally. His hands bled, his muscles ached. He made mistakes, but he never complained. He needed that job. After a week, while they sat drinking tea, Tayada asked, "Kenji, do you know what Ganbaru means?" Kenji shook his head. Ganbaru means to persist, to do your best, to not give up even when everything feels impossible. Kenji listened carefully as Tada continued. "After the war, I lost everything. My home, my family, my job. But I chose Ganbaru. I chose to persist. One day at a time. One plank at a time." He pointed around the shop. "This place, all of it, exists because of Ganbaru." Kenji asked, "But what about when you feel like you can't take it anymore?" Tada smiled. "That's exactly when Ganbaru matters most, because pain is where growth begins. From that moment, everything started to change. Kenji didn't transform overnight, but little by little Ganbaru reshaped his life. There were mornings he woke up exhausted, but he remembered Ganbaru. There were days the work was boring and repetitive, but he remembered Ganbaru. There were moments he wanted to quit, but he remembered Ganbaru. Slowly things improved. His hands toughened. His skills grew sharper. His confidence returned. He began to believe in himself again. Not with blind optimism, but with a strength built through effort. Tada noticed and said, "You're learning, Kenji, not just carpentry. You're learning who you are." But soon came the biggest test of all. 6 months later, Tada fell ill. Nothing fatal, but he needed weeks of rest. Before leaving, he handed the shop keys to Kenji. "The shop is yours now. Can you handle it?" Fear hit Kenji again. I don't know if I can." Tada placed a hand on his shoulder. "You can. I believe in you." Suddenly the responsibility of the entire workshop fell on him. Orders, customers, deadlines, everything. And pressure came crashing down. A big client requested a large table. Complex, heavy, important. Kenji worked day and night. Sweat. Mistakes. Redoing. Doubting. One morning, exhausted, he sat on the floor staring at the unfinished table. "I'm not going to make it," he whispered. "I'm going to disappoint Mr. Tada. I'm going to lose everything." Then he remembered. "It's in pain, Kenji, that we grow." He stood up and continued. Kenji finished the table. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest, made with dedication, made with Ganbaru. The client arrived, inspected it, and smiled. "This is a masterpiece. Who made it?" Kenji hesitated. "I did." "You? But you're so young." "Congratulations. I'll recommend you to everyone." When the customer left, Kenji cried again, not from defeat, but victory. Tayada returned days later and saw what Kenji had done. "You did it, kid. I only did it because of you." "Because of Ganbaru?" Tada shook his head. "No. You did it because you chose not to give up." Over the next months, Kenji continued to grow. His skills improved, his confidence strengthened, and slowly the workshop began to change too. More customers arrived. More work flowed in. Kenji wasn't rich, but he was bringing home more food, more stability, more hope for his mother, his brothers, and his grandmother. And he realized something powerful. Dignity isn't something life hands you. Dignity is something you build. Slowly, through effort, through pain, through persistence. But this story isn't just about emotion. It's not only about inspiration. There is real science behind Ganbaru, science that explains why it works, and why it can change lives even today. Researchers have discovered that the ability to persist through difficulty is directly tied to what psychologists call a growth mindset. This mindset isn't about believing you're naturally talented. It's about believing that your abilities can improve through discipline, practice, and effort. People with a growth mindset overcome challenges that others consider impossible. They don't break at the first sign of pressure. They adapt. They learn. They grow. A neuroscientist explained it this way. When we face difficulties and choose to persist, our brain creates new neural pathways. In simple terms, you literally become mentally stronger by enduring hard things. But here is the important part. Not all persistence is equal. Some people keep pushing in the wrong direction. They try the same thing again and again without learning, without adapting, without improving. That's not Ganbaru. That's stubbornness. Real Ganbaru isn't about smashing your head against the wall. It's about resilience with intelligence. It's about patience with purpose. It's about moving forward, even if the step is small. It's about doing your best with awareness, with wisdom, and with heart. Now I want you to think about your own life for a moment. What is your struggle right now? Maybe you're supporting your family. Maybe you're studying for a new career. Maybe you're trying to build a business. Maybe you're simply trying to survive one day at a time. And sometimes it feels impossible. There are days when you wake up and think, "I can't do this anymore." Days when the numbers don't make sense. Days when no one believes in you. Days when you feel completely alone. But remember Kenji, a 19-year-old boy who had nothing. No money, no food, no hope, and yet he chose Ganbaru. He chose to keep going, even when the world gave him every reason to quit. He learned something that most people never understand. Pain is not the end. Pain is the beginning. Pain is the doorway to transformation. There is no growth without discomfort. There is no strength without struggle. There is no change without challenge. When you stop running from pain and instead choose to use it as fuel, everything in your life begins to shift. Ganbaru is not about never feeling exhausted. It's not about never feeling afraid. It's not about pretending everything is fine. Ganbaru is about feeling all of it and continuing anyway. It's about waking up the next day even when the day before broke you. It's about taking one more step even when your legs are shaking. It's about trusting that your future self will thank you for not giving up today. Because the truth is this: the person you become along the way matters far more than the result you achieve. Kenji didn't become famous. He didn't become wealthy. But he gained purpose, strength, character, and he saved his family. And now, I want to tell you something that most people never hear about success. Something no motivational video ever talks about. People assume that once you start improving, once you find your purpose, once you discover discipline, the desire to quit disappears. But that is not true. Kenji didn't think about giving up once or twice. He thought about it every single day. Before he met Tita, he woke up every morning wanting to quit. And after he met Tita, after he found Ganbaru, after he changed his life, he still woke up some days wanting to quit. The difference wasn't the absence of the feeling. The difference was what he did despite the feeling. This is the truth no one tells you. Success is not about eliminating fear. It's about being afraid and acting anyway. Success is not about eliminating pain. It's about transforming pain into strength. Success is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making the most of the moment you have. So when you're at your limit, when everything seems impossible, when you feel like you cannot take another day, remember this word: Ganbaru. Remember a 19-year-old boy in post-war Japan who had nothing. Remember how he chose to persist. Remember how he grew through pain. Remember how he rebuilt his dignity piece by piece. And remember this: your story is still being written. Your struggle is not a sign you're failing. Your pain is not proof you're weak. Your difficulties are not the end. They are the beginning of something new, something stronger, something wiser, something more powerful. Ganbaru is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's about choosing not to quit. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because no matter how many times you fall, the only thing that truly matters is how many times you get back up. So I want to make you a simple invitation. If this message touched you, if something inside you awakened, if you felt even a spark of strength, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, because I will continue bringing you stories, lessons, and ideas that help you take back control of your life. I also invite you to leave a like and comment the word Ganbaru below. Not for me, but for you. Because when you type that word, you are making a commitment, a personal promise, that you will not give up, that you will persist, that you will use your pain as fuel. And finally, if you enjoy psychology, philosophy, and stories like this one, check out the second channel linked in the description. It may be exactly what you need on your journey. Thank you for staying until the end. I appreciate you more than you imagine. And remember, your story is not over. Your strength is not finished. And your ending will not be written by giving up.